Hello, everyone. My name is Jake, and welcome to a commentary video, the last word for my very, very beloved, by me at least, Nevele video. I'm joined with Brennen Evangelista, to whom actually went with me here.
Yes.
Isn't that right, Brennen?
Smaller channel called Uncharted Travel.
Right. I've never heard of it, believe it or not.
I actually ended up stealing most of Jake's lovely drone shots here for my own video.
Yes, you did, as you normally do with all my drone shots. Boy, I love this opening. This is when I was making this video, I was taking great inspiration from my original Colony video, to which I think this shows a lot of parallels to. You know, you start out with this sort of dramatic drone shot through the property, and then you cut into the nostalgic aspects of the property. And can I also just say, before we get into more stuff, there's so much to talk about with this place. We have so many stories, Brennan, just the insane crap that we experienced here. But the drone shot at the beginning with the birds flying by the Nevele water tower.
It was perfect.
Perfect. It's so good. I very much adore that shot.
It's like something out of like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, the music with it, I absolutely love it. I love this whole video so much. And here's the song at the Nevele. It's the thing that will get stuck in your head for days and days.
Well, I can't really hear it because I don't have...
Well, you pretend, Brennan. Didn't you ever see the video? Also, you did the same thing in your video, I'm pretty sure, as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
it's a big copycat.
For that drone shot, though, I remember the birds were actually like flying around the drone. Jake didn't show the full clip, but they kept just circling around his drone.
Right. You know what? I'll include it right now. But there's actually this drone where there's a drone shot where I actually almost fly it into the water tower itself. So you can see me flying the drone backwards, and I almost crash it into the water tower. And this was the third day we had the drone, so I almost destroyed it just then. So there you go.
You bought it specifically for this road trip, too.
Right. All right, we're back. Look at this. Look at the foliage growing inside this hallway.
Yeah.
I wish I spent more time on it, but like, wow, it just sets you up for like this, how utterly decayed this property really is with grass.
It doesn't feel like something you'd find in the States.
Right, yeah.
That's one of the things that I noticed walking into the property.
It's
like
very European
yeah.
in its design and just the way it's...
Well, just its age of decay. Like overgrowth like this, it takes years, takes decades even.
Yeah.
And like usually in the States, something like this, like especially a resort as big as this one, as soon as something becomes abandoned for this long, or like they don't have the opportunity to have that much abandonment before they're knocked down and turned into condos or some new development project.
Yeah. But this is just so out of the way in the middle of the mountains that
you can have that foliage or this like a whole tree sprouting up in one of the hallways, and it almost feels like...
I mean, look at the vines growing up the windows back in that gym area.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so crazy to see like unbroken glass with the foliage like completely taking over. Yeah. And I know later on, I mean, look at the vines on the...
And every hallway, even though most of the furniture and furnishings had been gutted from the property, that it just had so much to offer through its like photographic potential, through like all the vines and just green. Like there was hallways that had a completely green hue to them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's a great way to put it too. But there's also this the fact that there is in fact no furniture or any lasting stuff left behind. The actual walls and the surroundings of the entire property are so interesting by themselves. Yeah, that it's just fascinating to see it regardless.
Well, yeah, the architecture. I mean, I'm sure you have the pockets that have their like the top of the spire here.
Yes, that's right.
Everything was furnished at the top, or the
which is
skating rental.
Yeah,
and then
man, look at this. Look at the old theater. Unbelievable, eh?
It's crazy, and it still looks like very similar to how it does.
Yeah, it looks identical
in these photographs.
It looks just like it, right?
Which is absolutely insane to think. Like for so many years, it just held up.
Yeah.
And I mean, it still would have been like that skating rink looks identical. This lobby, I mean, obviously the carpet's a little worn, but you can definitely make out where these photos are if you were to walk into the Nevele today.
Walking through this building too was like as eerie as you can possibly get, but also like while you're walking through here, you have this weird sense of the fact that there was something so much grander here. Like there so much had happened prior to you setting foot in there. So, you know, you're walking into this cold. It was really cold in there too, I remember.
Yeah, like especially the lower levels.
The lobby and the lower levels, like chilly as can possibly be. And this was filmed in July, I believe. Yeah, so we did this in our July road trip.
That was the road trip of dreams.
Right,
that we
road trip of dreams, indeed. Man, look at the green carpet from all the moss. It just blows my. I just can't get over the fact on how decayed and how much foliage is actually just growing through everything.
From such a grand structure. And this lobby in particular, as you can see, was very rich and very well constructed. Like there's like marble everywhere, like very, very solid stone. There was wood paneling in some portions. There was like cast iron railings. It was very elegant. And like this skylight piece here, and just to see like the wasted material, like someone could have easily like repurposed that decal in the center there. Yeah,
you know, it's actually pretty shocking how intact everything is in relation to, you know, other places that we've seen. You know, it hasn't been gutted necessarily. There's not too much graffiti. It's gotten worse from what I understand, and you know, just from this image right here, that unbelievable art piece mural, it was a bit vandalized. I love this stuff too. Like for some reason, I'm a big fan of like modern day glassed in architecture. I don't know why. I find this very
like
interesting.
A greenhouse.
Yeah, like this kind of stuff. I just find it so creepy to see, you know, in its decayed state. When I always see automatic sliding doors and it's a decrepit state, it's always just
like something like Rolling Acres or something like that.
Yeah, it just reminds me of like you know, a bygone era of the 90s or 80s, something like that.
Apocalyptic.
Yeah. And this bar, man, I wish that mural was still there. Boy, this whole area, when you get up there, it's like you feel the influence of the 60s and 70s in there.
Yeah,
it's you're dining among the rich and famous.
Especially when we were staying at the neighboring resort. It like the whole lot felt like it was like you were stepping back in time. Like it was like a Twilight Zone feeling, like you were trapped in this sort of bubble. It's in the middle of nowhere in the mountains.
Well, let's talk about this. So before that, actually, let me just say that last shot, we were on the second floor of the theater building, and I believe it was. I don't think you were with me. It was someone else.
Yeah, I think it was Darren, possibly.
Possibly Darren, right? We had actually walked past into the back of that area on the second floor, and I didn't include this because I thought it would be too irresponsible of me to show it, but all of it was just cubicles and offices back there, right? But the floor was screwed up. We started walking on it, and it was mush. It probably flexed about 3 inches, and I'm not joking, about 3 inches when we started walking on that floor. So that was extremely alarming as we look at the alarm.
Good transition there. Good
thank you.
Segue.
So yeah, let's talk about our journey to the second hotel, because in order to film this place, I had the idea to stay at the adjacent hotel, which is still open. So at one point, the two hotels were connected and operating as one.
Yeah,
it was one Nevele hotel.
It was owned by two brothers, right?
I believe so. I don't know that for a fact though, so I won't say it as a matter of fact. But they did eventually split. They were created as two different properties, and the other one was called the Honors Avon Hotel, and this was the Nevele Grand. Yeah. So Brennen and I, as well as Darren and Matt, who we were with at the time, we all stayed at the Honors Avon Hotel, which was, of course, right next to it. And boy, oh boy, Brennen, did we have an experience there?
It was just such a weird, like it was like they you could tell, like it was kind of because it was in the middle of nowhere. The location was poor. They didn't have like the proper clientele that they used to have. So it seemed like they just kind of like did everything. Like they were trying to be a one-stop shop for everything.
Yeah.
Like they had like a Korean camp going on. They had like
there's a lot of Korean influence in there too.
Yeah, they had
which
like
was strange.
Like we
I felt.
walked into the what we thought was at the time like one of the main entrances, and we just see like Korean signs in Korean everywhere, and we had no idea where we were, what was going on, and apparently it was like for some summer camp for kids or adults or something.
No idea.
And then we
still no idea.
Yeah, and then there was also maybe about like 10 different family spiritual gatherings.
Right. So it is right now. It is a retreat, a spiritual retreat for people to go to, and the whole hotel. It was like $200 a night too. By the way, it was it was getting on the pricier side of things. So I show it in the later in this video. Man, look at this lobby too. I showed in this video, but towards the end, the Nevele Grand Hotel was in a pretty decrepit state, right? Towards the mid-2000s, it was getting to a point where it was starting to get a little run down. The power was off in some areas. It was an older hotel that they couldn't keep up to date, Oh, and Brennan, I was with you, just to put a pause on that story for a sec. I was with you, Brennan, in this lobby, and we saw a vehicle.
Yeah, driving past. There was like a blue van. Oh, there it is.
Right there. No, it wasn't a van. It was a car. Because it had a spoiler on it. You could see the spoiler on the back.
The weirdest thing about that is the main gate where they would have had to drive up from was fenced in.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. That's what happened. So we were in a really rare moment in time with this property when there was no fences. They were in the process of putting up a chain link fence around the property. So the main gate was actually unsecured. So what I think was happening was people were just driving into it. Yeah. People were just driving through.
Whether they knew it was an abandoned resort or not, but
right, I'm pretty sure they mistakened it with the adjacent property, the Honors Haven Hotel.
Yeah,
but yeah, random citizens were just driving through the Nevele Grand, which
the adjacent property
scared the hell out of us.
Equally as eerie as the Nevele, in my opinion. Like it was just, it looked like it hadn't been updated since the 70s.
Right.
They added some new things, like they closed down the main pool and they had like another pool. They had like old tennis courts that just had like they had like that eerie like yellow lighting that you'd see out of like a horror movie. Like it felt like the hotel from the song like Hotel California.
Right. Yeah. So we get at the hotel and immediately I'm like, oh God, what have we done? Because everything's in like it's like stepping into a property from the 80s that has not been updated since. So everything's like in this gold paneled mirror finish and all that. It smells kind of weird in there.
Yeah, it was like the Twilight Zone.
It was literally the Twilight Zone. We got there. Look at the mildew on this, by the way. It's unbelievable on the glass. We get to this property and it's enormous. Nothing really makes sense. The layout of the property is so bizarrely old. It doesn't make sense. Like there's several elevator shafts and you can't get to certain floors unless you get out into another elevator or something.
And then they made like certain weird additions at areas that like cut off other sections of the building.
Yeah. So because the Nevele Hotel as well as the hotel that we were staying at, the Honors Haven, were connected, they shared the same furniture and they shared the same design features.
Yeah.
So we were literally staying inside an operating Nevele Hotel.
Yes.
As if it had never closed at all.
And I honestly believe they definitely took some of the furnishings and furniture out of this hotel and put it in the other hotel.
Yes. Later on in the video, we go to the chalet and I'll point out one piece of furniture that 100% was in the
yeah, because that's what I was saying. We saw, or that's what I was thinking. We saw a lot of the furniture in the Honors Haven that was actually in this abandoned resort.
Yeah, we just had such a weird feeling there. So you're totally isolated from everything, and you're at this old decrepit hotel, and nothing. No offense to the facility people there, but a lot of the people who were at the hotel were living in the hotel.
Yes,
and it was just a very, very strange, I hate to say it, but vibe we had. It was just a very
it was definitely a bizarre feeling. It was the best way I can describe it, and I've probably said this a couple of times. It's just the Twilight Zone. Yeah. Like it was just an eerie atmosphere. Like you didn't really know what was going on. everything felt like uncertain. In a
Right,
sense.
right. Everything felt like we kept making this joke while we were there, but it felt like we were going to drive away and then end back, find our way back to the
like a Groundhog Day type of thing. Like
we were gonna
we'd drive away and then we'd be pulling up at like the Honors Haven.
Or we're gonna fall asleep in the next hotel and we'd just wake back up in the Honors Haven hotel. Yeah. So you can see that right there on the left, the property on the left, the one that's being highlighted is the Honors Haven hotel that we were staying at. But
it looks exactly like it does in those photos. Like I'm pretty sure they still have that fixture, that stairwell.
Right. Yeah. So you can obviously like
that's from the Nevele.
The Nevele is in a really bad state towards the end. But yeah, these photos and like this moment in time that these people captured towards the end. I believe that was 2010. I think 2009 or something. 2008. Okay. Yeah, it's just such a weird moment in time of a hotel that, you know, it could just never keep going the way it was. So I think by looking at these photos and seeing the video of it back in the day, you can kind of get an idea of what it was like for Brennen and I to stay at the Honors Haven Hotel. Just a bizarre experience. And if you're in the area, Ellensville, New York,
in the Catskills,
I say go for it. You know, it's an experience. It probably will be very weird for you, but I think it's definitely worth.
Yeah, even if you don't want to go into the abandoned resort, even just stay a night at the Honors Haven,
get
and
an
then
idea.
You from your room, you can most likely see the Nevele, and you could just understand what we're talking about.
It's literally like a different world. I felt. Because you're stepping into this, you know, this almost abandoned hotel, I'd say, and you have like this weird Korean section of it that's like catering mainly to Korean people, and then you have another section that's like a spiritual retreat,
and then you have a karaoke bar or like a bar operating in like the basement.
The weirdest moment, I'm not kidding, the weirdest and most surreal moment of my entire life. It was probably like 11 p.m. and we went to this little bar at the basement. Man, look at the decay here.
Oh yeah, this is getting to the good stuff.
Unbelievable.
This is up the Nevele spire.
Right, this is the very top.
When the more you climb, because the first few floors were gutted, I'm guessing.
All of the floors were gutted until the very top. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, well they had, I think the second last floor, that's where they had mattresses, like something like this. But the very top floor they actually had like the furniture that you see, like the wardrobe.
Yeah.
And the dual bed with the nightstand.
Here, let me finish my karaoke story because it's just bizarre. So we went down into this little bar at the bottom, talked to the bartender for a little bit. We're the only two people in it, and then this other couple comes in, a very elderly man, or not an elderly, he was like in his 70s maybe, and his Korean young wife walk into this bar, and somehow, just through the night, you know, we're talking about the Nevele next to us and all that. And then the older man, he comes up to us. He's like, do you want to do karaoke with us? And then it's like 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm sitting there in a bar with 4 people in it, blasting Korean karaoke music. It was the most bizarre night I've ever had. It's one of those nights where I'm like, where the hell am I? And why am I doing this?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Just so bizarre. I can't even explain it. It's just the Nevele. It gives you such a weird vibe, and I'm always going to remember our time staying in the Catskills and reliving what it was like to stay there. Who knows how long that hotel has left, but my God, wasn't it an experience?
Definitely was.
Jeez, man, look at the decay in this though.
Yeah, these were definitely by far my favorite rooms here. This was like one of the master suites.
Yeah,
and they had you pretty much had one half of the top floor to yourself.
Right. Yeah, one was like one big penthouse suite, which was this, I believe, right?
Yeah,
it had several bedrooms.
And this was the most furnished any of the rooms had been, and by far the most overgrown any of the rooms had been. I'm guessing they didn't want to lug the furniture from the top floor. They didn't. Yeah,
it's sort of strange.
Feel like it.
Why they didn't gut the very top.
Well, that's why if you're ever in an abandoned like office building or apartment building, you always the top floor is always going to be the most interesting because
Right.
they're least likely that they'll unload.
Yeah.
Because they can unload all the other floors, but usually it's a lot harder to take it down from the top. But they had all this vintage furniture. Like look at the crowning along the bed frame.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if this was set up or not. It's very likely that another explorer had come in and set this up. But I don't see anything wrong with that. I think I saw a lot of comments saying that, but
I mean, all the items were definitely left there. Like I don't feel like anyone brought these in. Look at how rugged the duvet is.
Right.
And the couch, like nobody lugged that up the stairwell.
I'm pretty sure in your video you moved down that love seat, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I did it for photos, and then I think I hadn't filmed the room yet. But
right. By the way, did you ever go through that door into the bathroom?
Yeah.
What was in there?
The bathroom was actually surprising. Did you not go in your video?
I don't think so. No.
The bathroom was surprisingly
there was no
really
doorknob.
modern.
I don't think
It had like a marble counter, if I believe.
Oh,
if
really?
I remember correctly, and then it had like a shower and a bathtub, I believe.
Well, if you guys want to go see that, go watch Brennen's video.
Yeah. And then I think it had a walkout balcony portion, and the balcony was like falling off.
Yes, I remember because you went on it like an absolute idiot.
And you guys were getting all upset.
Yeah, we were yelling at you from on top. Get the hell off the balcony, Brennen, you maniac.
This was an interesting feature because the current owners of the land were renting out the top of the spire to like a service company to put their like satellite receivers.
Cell phone tower on top.
Yeah, and as far as I couldn't find any information other than the company Nextel, but I believe they're not an existing company anymore. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Like I tried looking into it. But
I believe it's the tallest point in all of the Catskills on that tower. So I think they're just licensed or they're renting them out.
Yeah, and
but if they are, they're not doing a good job at securing their property though, because the door's wide open and the entire property was unsecured. So
yeah, and you could still like we could tell there was live wiring because as soon as we stood up there, you could hear the humming.
Yes.
And
my
microphone especially got a lot of static from that.
Right. Right.
Like, probably because of like the radiation or radio waves or whatever.
So here we are off the tower now and walking down to the main pool area. And this gives me this reminds me of like
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it all does, technically. But no, this reminds me of if anyone goes camping in Watkins Glen, New York, Watkins Glen National Park, you always see like in campgrounds, national park campgrounds, they have like these enormous pool areas with outdoor Olympic-sized swimming pools. This really gave me that sort of feeling. That's also in New York too.
Did it look as swampy as this one too?
It's a little more maintained, I'll be honest. Look how big this hot tub is, though.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to tell in the video, but it is enormous.
It was like a 15-foot long jacuzzi.
I'd probably even say like 20-foot long. It was really, really big. Yeah, a lot of this was a lot more vandalized than the other stuff, which was unfortunate.
Probably because they had, at least for some point, the majority of the structures boarded up, and this was probably the most vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, even here you can see like look at the foliage behind Brennen, the vines growing through the brick and all that.
Everything was overgrown.
Oh, and here's Brennen cleaning up the property. Good on you, Brennen.
Trying to make it look presentable.
Yeah,
yeah. See?
Brennen's running the Nevele now. He reopened it.
I signed the deed.
Brennen's a landowner now. The owners were so impressed with you. They had to give it to you.
I don't live in the country, but I own a good chunk of the land in the middle of the mountains.
You own the Nevele Resort now in New York. Wow. Boy, look at this amazing
this would have been the skating
structure.
Rink. And you can see the red tubes where they would have had the coolant to run the coolant for the
here's the Honors Haven Hotel right there. Man, Brennen, there's still so much that actually, you know what? Before we get to that, let me give you an update, a 2021 update on what happened with this concept that I talked about in the video. I believe that the idea was to build a casino on the property, and then they switched to some sort of sports center, and the billboard outside was saying opening in March 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen.
Yeah. The sign looked like it was all sunburnt.
Right. The sign had been there for a while on its own. Yeah. The only updates we do have is the fact that the entire property of the Nevele is fenced off, as well as the tower itself is now fenced off too.
Really?
So there's
like
double
it has its own
fencing.
individual.
Yeah, it gets its own double fence thing there.
If you're motivated enough, that fencing is not gonna.
No. I mean, the property is so enormous. Yeah, here's that sign: opening March 2020. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the project is still stalled. Will it ever happen? No. I don't think it will.
It's gonna cost. Either if you try and repair these structures, they're way too far gone. Like this, if they wanted to do anything with the property, they should have done it 10, 15 years ago.
I have to agree.
But
the roofs are so messed up at this point.
The structural integrity of this whole complex is completely compromised. There's not one building that's salvageable.
What do you think it would cost, Brennen, to revamp it into a hotel property? What do you think it would cost to do it?
Demolition costs a lot. Like you'd have to start from the ground up.
Well, without demolition, what do you think the repair cost would be?
I don't know. You'd have to
demolition. I'd say would be about $15 million.
It would need severe care on each building. Like just because of how massive the complex is, like I would have to say at least 40-50 million.
Oh, more than that. Oh, I'm thinking like probably if they were to do it, it would be $150 million. Yeah, that's over $100 million to do it.
Property is
no doubt.
It's way too much of a liability. Like as you can see, like even where you're approaching here, Jake, that whole
the roof
ceiling has collapsed.
Yeah.
Onto the rink. And
just about the only thing you can save probably is the tower itself. That seemed, because it's a concrete structure, it seemed like it
looked like they were trying to make adjustments. Like they had chopped out parts of the drywall to mitigate mold,
right,
and such, like and they had windows open in the tower to kind of get airflow in there so that it wouldn't mold wouldn't build up.
I will say one thing here too: the furniture. So that couch that you're seeing to the left of your screen, as well as the single chair sofa right in the middle and to the right of your screen. Those were the identical chairs that were in the elevator. Oh, and yes, and the pink one.
The pink wooded one we had in our room.
Did we?
Yeah.
We had that in our room?
Yeah, sorry. I'll go more on that after. But
yeah, that chair right there, I know for a fact, is the exact same one that's in the elevator lobby of the Honors Haven.
Yeah, and that one we had, that pink one that's in center frame now.
Yeah.
We had that in our room along with another wooden chair and a nightstand that I found in the Nevele. Which is crazy to think.
That is hilarious.
They probably just, when they were running low to furnish rooms, they probably just walked 10 steps next door to the abandoned.
Or, these furnishings were put here when they were combined buildings back in the 80s or 70s, and they just never changed them. Yeah. What were we talking about again? Oh.
The Nevele
what you can
resort.
Save. Right.
No,
the Nevele resort. Wait, we're talking about this video.
Jake just forgets everything. Where am I? Who are you?
Just so excited to get this.
No, I mean, you could definitely salvage all the skates, and the ski equipment and skis are outdated, but the skates you could definitely.
I mean, I'm just talking buildings alone. I think the only thing that you can realistically get is the tower. And I think you would have to demo everything else.
Maybe some of the concrete. Maybe
flooring. You can save the frames,
because for Six Flags New Orleans, they said even though it was cracked and broken, they said they could salvage that concrete. So,
but that was a different type of concrete structure. This is something that's been sitting for a while. This is less of a less graded.
I'd say
land that it's on.
Yeah,
probably.
The tower, maybe some of the foundations, but all these buildings are beyond.
Yeah. I think, especially the chalet that we're in right now, the roof is so gone. You know, it's going to be so difficult to save any of this. But it's $100 million project, no doubt. And I think in the current economic climate that we're in, it's going to be a very steep uphill climb for the developers.
The hotel industry is not booming right now.
Yeah, especially in the Catskills.
Yeah.
So
it's sad to see. I've seen a lot of updated photos, and people have sent me photos of the Nevele in these, especially the ski closet here in storage. and it's so trashed now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, vandalized. A lot more graffiti than even when we were there. It's very, very sad to see.
You know, I always try and keep up with the places that we go to. I watched a video of someone going through the Nevele not too long ago, maybe a couple months ago at this point, but most of it seems the same. But yeah, graffiti, a lot more graffiti and all that. It's very unfortunate, but you know, the developers aren't doing anything about it, so
it's true. Speaking of the developers, we came across one of the landowners actually. Well, I came across one of the landowners while we were exploring the Nevele.
I don't think it was Brennen. So in one of the last drone shots here, we do have to wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah,
we're coming to a close, and I love the ending song of this video too. But
you see that path running right by the skate rink. So okay, so you can actually see it. Oh, maybe it's not this shot. So you can see the tracks there of the ATVs. Go ahead, Brennen. That's where, I mean, I believe, because everyone was saying, like, at least from what we know, that the landowner drives around the property on an ATV and potentially, like, tries to detain or point guns at people.
Oh, I do remember hearing that.
And then I remember you guys heard ATVs in the distance, but I was filming downstairs. So I was like, okay, I still want to finish up. And it was me and some other explorer that we randomly met. And you guys all bailed. And you're like, we gotta go now. So you went to the other side to the other resort.
We met another explorer.
And
we met like 5 people while inside here.
Yeah, there's the ATV track right there. But as I was walking out, he comes down and he stops and like looks at me and the other guy. And I just waved to him, and he just drives away.
Oh, really? Did he acknowledge you at all?
On his way? Yeah, he just stopped and looked at us, and then just kept on.
Yeah, but did he wave back or something?
No, he did not look happy.
Oh, interesting. Oh, really?
He didn't try to.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he waved back at you.
No.
Ah, maybe he was a little angry. Okay, well, anyway, that's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you all very much for watching. The Nevele video is probably one of my favorite exploration videos I've ever done.
Yes.
One of the coolest places we've ever been.
Truly,
maybe not as good as the colony, but
I'm
rubbing it into Brennen. But for what it was, and the type of place it was, and such a unique area that we had done, I think it's one of the coolest places.
If you want us to do more of these types of videos, let us know in the comments.
Indeed.
Also subscribe to Jake's channel, because you probably haven't already. Subscribe to my channel. The Uncharted Travel.
Thanks, Brennen. Okay.
Links will be in the description.
Thanks for watching The Last Word, everyone. We'll catch you all very, very soon. Goodbye.